but I've managed to find someone who regularly says more positive things about Manchester City to maybe lift the conversation slightly. Trevor Sinclair, former England and City winger, how are you?
Good evening, Hugh. How are we doing? Morning, evening, Dan.
Hi, Trev. You okay?
Yeah, good, mate.
On the way to becoming the biggest club in the world, hey?
Facts.
What's been so good about Manchester City, particularly since Pep Guardiola has got to the club, Trevor?
Oh, where do I start, Hugh? I think to start with, let's start with number one, the goalkeeper. You know, there was a lot of people at Manchester City who loved Joe Hart, and when he kind of just said, "Joe, you've not got a future here," pretty much as simple as that. I think there was a lot of backlash, but he's not afraid to say, "Listen, I'm the boss. He's not good enough for what I want him to do with his feet, and if I want to stick to my principles and stick to my patterns of play and stick to my philosophies in how I want to win the league, how I won the league and got the success at Barcelona, same at Bayern Munich. I don't want Joe Hart because he can't do that."
I think what we do have to say, though, Trev, is he inherited a fantastic squad of players in the first place.
Of course he did. I mean, they weren't. I mean, but you look at the squad when he first took over, and you look at it now, and it's completely changed. It's completely changed, and especially defensively. Going forward, they've always had great ability. And you have to say, even when you look at the forwards now, or the so-called midfielders that are playing in that either number 10 or false number 9s, they've done that this season without an out-and-out centre forward, more or less all season. So first and foremost, I think he's redefined for the whole league what goalkeepers need to do. And Ederson has set the gold standard. I think secondly, he's redefined football in England, because everyone said when he first came, and he failed in that first year. We say he failed, he learnt a lot, and he learnt what he needed to do better. He couldn't play tiki-taki football, out from the back, total football, as what we've seen this season, last season, the season before. That can't be successful in the Premier League. So them lot need to be quiet, because he's proved them wrong so badly. And then the third thing is, he's broke more records than Usain Bolt on the way. I mean, he's got the treble, he's got the 100 points. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. We know that he's had a good checkbook.
But we've alluded to it. We've alluded to it already. And there you go. You mentioned the checkbook, but it's not just about having money. It's how it's been spent at Manchester City. It's an example.
There's been plenty of teams that have had money and blown it.
This is my point. Yeah. It's an example to the rich clubs in world football, the ones that won a European Super League, exactly how to run a football club.
The team that wins the league, apart from Leicester, the team that wins the league generally has the best players. To have the best players, you have to spend the most money. That's just a simple fact. Your wage, you might be second or third, but you're going to be up there, with the best, whether that be on wages or transfer fees. Manchester United back in the day were still spending big money. Their wages at the time were bigger than everybody else. Everybody was playing catch up to them. Arsenal paid massive money at the time, obviously when Sol Campbell went there and that type of thing. So the money argument is irrelevant.
You missed my point. I said there were an example to all rich clubs in football,
Absolutely.
of which there are many, of how to run a football club, what they've done with the training facilities, what they've done in Manchester, full stop, and how they've invested. Even Pep Guardiola talking about Kylian Mbappe or Lionel Messi or Erling Haaland and saying, we're not a club that spends £100 million on a player. We never have, and I don't think we will anytime soon. They might have spent a lot of money, but they haven't gone out there and got Neymar and Mbappe.
They also went out and got one of the best coaches, on the planet. And gave him all the tools to bring in and set the club up around him, and it was set up for Pep before he came in.
Yeah,
everything was obviously the two guys coming, Soriano and Begiristain, coming in from Barcelona. Everything was that was the precursor to Guardiola coming in. So there was 2 or 3 years of building that to make sure it was pretty much ready.
Yeah, you almost felt a little bit sorry for Pellegrini in his latest his last year, because even though Pep was on sabbatical in New York at the time, I mean, all the top European clubs were courting him, but he got the deal done with Manchester City and with Sheikh Mansour. And you're right in what you say. They've not broken any records with transfers. They've spent 60 million on this player, 50 million on that player. But I think as a business model and actually sticking to Pep's principles, he doesn't want to be known as the manager that goes out and just spends 150 million on that best player, 100 million on this. He wants to do it his way. And actually, the way that he plays, and you've seen this many a time, he takes a little bit of that responsibility away from the players where they don't need to come out with brilliance. It's the patterns of play and the passages of play and the discipline in possession to break teams down. A lot of the time you see the ball going to the byline, a pull back and a 6-yard shot. This is an amazing way which he's won the league and continues to do that. We're talking 3 Premier Leagues, the FA Cup, 4 League Cups, 2 Community Shields, and hopefully on the 29th of May, there's going to be a big jug-eared trophy added to the cabinet.
Trevor, stay there. I'm going to talk to you about some of the main performers for Manchester City this season in a second. And also, I think Guardiola's been lucky along the way. Let's go back to the former City winger, Trevor Sinclair, who's on kickoff alongside myself, Hugh Wizencroft, and the former City defender, Danny Mills. If you're just joining us, Manchester City have been crowned Premier League champions at Manchester United, failing to beat Leicester City at home. But Trevor, I do think there was a slice of luck for Pep Guardiola this season. Oof. Nobody would have seen John Stones hitting the ground running like he did this season. I'm sorry, no one saw his form coming. And Ruben Dias is a new signing into the Premier League. We often talk about players needing time to adjust. He's the player of the season in his first year in England, pretty much. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, but hang on a minute, but you still had, you've got Aymeric Laporte, who's been City's best defender. That's one of the reasons why they didn't win the league last season. So even without John Stones, they would have had Laporte.
Yeah, but I don't think Laporte is now at the level that he needs to be to start.
He's not played enough.
To start,
so we don't know. That's the
Whoa.
problem.
Can I just interject? It's not lucky. This is something that's planned.
Yeah, let's gang up on him. Let's gang up on him, Trev. Let's gang up on the Man United fan.
You don't go in the market and say, he's done all right for a year, let's take him and see how he does. This is planning. This is like scouts going out there. I would say investigators watching his lifestyle.
Yeah,
and
you're right, Trev, because with Ruben Dias, speaks lots of different languages, very, very intelligent, clearly knew that he was going to fit in on a personal level very, very quickly to those surroundings. You know, and we always talk about it, when players go out there, they've got to buy into the culture, they need to speak the language. So they've worked that out, they've sussed out. As Trevor said, they've talked to him, his agent, his family, whoever it might be, and make sure that he's the right signing to come in.
But let's be honest.
I will say, I've got to say...
You're telling me they wouldn't have listened to offers for John Stones last summer? If they were decent, he probably would have got sold.
But they didn't listen to offers.
I'm just saying, I think it's...
And Hugh, if you listen to me, I was saying John Stones will come again. He's having a difficult time in his private life. He will come again. And what a catalyst. Bringing in someone that was like the problem, Ruben Dias, what a leader.
That period, Trevor, did coincide with issues in his private life. I interviewed him for Talk, and he said, he's over that now. That's settled down. That's behind him.
Can I just make a call out to Manchester United and just say thank you for conceding the league by making 10 changes. And the gift is very well received.
And the trophy's back where it belongs, in Manchester.
There were some other special performances.
Welcome to Manchester, the Premier League.
Okay, thanks very much.
Now, we're talking about Manchester United. And listen, the fans demonstrated against Liverpool. The game's been reorganised. Manchester United have made 10 changes to their... Without being disrespectful to the players that played tonight, they've made 10 changes. This is their B squad. This is their B team. Mm-hmm. I think that's disrespectful, and I think it takes a little bit away from the top 4 title, from the top 4 race, because you're looking at if you ask Chelsea,
so it wasn't disrespectful from Pep at the weekend to play 9 changes against Chelsea.
It's nothing to do with it. Manchester City have got that privilege because they've already made it, and they've not had to cancel a game because they can't safeguard their stadium. You're going away from it, Hugh. I said a week before that, I said at Liverpool against Newcastle, I said there won't be many demonstrations here. The demonstrations will be at Old Trafford next week for Manchester United against Liverpool. Why don't the police know that? Why don't the club make amendments for that and make sure they safeguard their stadium?
Well, they didn't do that. They did, and they failed.
They didn't do that, Danny.
No, it's not me. They knew it was going to happen, and they failed to do anything about it.
The teams that are going to suffer from that, or the teams that are going to either miss out on the top 4, or they're going to suffer from Manchester United's lack of due diligence, are Chelsea possibly, Liverpool, West Ham and Tottenham, because they're the other teams that are looking at that top 4. I think there needs to be a punishment for Manchester United, and 3 points is not enough because it doesn't affect anything. I honestly feel the way that they've put this team out now, the way that they didn't safeguard their stadium last week, I think a 6-point deduction should be given to Manchester United.
Yeah, go Trev.
No, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. you earlier on you said points deductions only punish the fans. Was that correct?
No, I didn't say it.
What did you say?
Everything punishes the fans.
Everything. Okay, so a points deduction would punish the fans.
Well, so is any punishment?
Well, you also punish the football club.
I said from this point of view, in terms of what Manchester United didn't safeguard their stadium, got a game called off because their security was inept. I said, and I phoned in and spoke to Simon Jordan and Jim White and said, 5 games behind closed doors next season, because that will hurt the Glazers in the pocket. The problem you've then got, that also hurts the fans because they can't go and watch their club. So whatever you do, it hurts their fans.
Danny, how does that help West Ham? How does that help Liverpool? It doesn't, Trevor. But what I was going to say is points deduction. It's difficult. How many? What do you do? Leicester have picked up 3 points at Old Trafford, which if they put their first team out, your Pogba's, your Brunos,
I think you can only the maximum you could probably do is get away with 3 points for the one.
No,
game.
It's not going to affect it. So
that's what I'm saying.
You might as well not do it.
That's what I'm saying.
It's got to be 6 points in my opinion.
But
I'm sorry.
This is not me being a bit of blue. We've just won the league, Trev, so don't think about that.
No, I'm not saying that you're being a bit of blue. I understand what you're trying to say. But all I'm saying is Manchester City, the best team in the league, made 9 changes, completely tore up any formation they played all year.
Hang on,
against Chelsea, who are one of the sides.
They've made 7 or 8 changes every week.
How many times have Man City made 9 changes and won the game?
They've never played a team. They started Aguero, Jesus, Sterling, and Torres all in one side. Come on.
Wow, poor Manchester City starting them 4 worlders.
No, but listen, 2 of them were playing in central midfield. So, let's be realistic
internationals?
here.
Are they international footballers?
Raheem Sterling's not a central midfielder.
How many goals have them 4 players got?
Ferran Torres isn't a central midfielder.
How many goals
they've won the league without a centre forward
in the Premier League?
All I'm saying is, if we're talking about disrespect, so you're telling me just because they're good players, they could have played anywhere on the pitch and it wouldn't have been.
They're great players.
Okay, just because they're great players, they could have played anywhere and it wouldn't have been disrespectful. So if Raheem Sterling was in goal, you would have gone, all right, then well, it's what it is.
We're not privileged to know.
Now you're being facetious.
No, I'm not. I'm saying Manchester City, the team that Manchester City played at the weekend, the way that they played it. I don't care about the number of changes. Players out of position and players that he would never play in any game that he's taking seriously. He would have never played that game.
How do you know where the positions were?
Never in a million years.
I said tonight, I don't have an issue with Ollie doing what he did with Manchester United. That's his choice. That's his prerogative.
Well, Trevor wants a points deduction.
I do want a points deduction. Trevor wants it's unfair on. It's not unfair on Manchester City.
Let me help you out, Trev. Let me help you. Trevor wants a points deduction because of the way that it happened and because the security was inept, and this has caused the fixture congestion, and that's forced Manchester United to play a weakened team because they've got these 4 games in a week. That's the problem. So Trevor really wants the points deduction for Manchester United not looking after their stadium when they knew there was going to be problems and almost deliberately Manchester United almost deliberately allowed a game to be called off. That's why Trevor wants the points deduction.
And playing a B team against Leicester, which literally takes at least 1 spot in that Champions League top 4.
Allegations, by the way, allegedly, just to back you up on what you just said there, Danny. I'm sure you meant to add it in. But Trevor, just a final question. If it wasn't a side tonight going for a place in the top 4, if they were playing Crystal Palace tonight, Manchester United, and they'd have made the same changes and put the same team out, would you still want a points deduction?
Well, Hugh, I've got to be honest. If Manchester United did what Manchester City have done this season, which is make 6 or 7 or 8 changes every game from game to game, and that's what Manchester United did for a Premier League game, I wouldn't have any problems.
No, but I'm saying
Manchester United don't make that amount of changes. They've made that amount of changes because their fans got a game called off last week. Their security weren't good enough, and they've got to make 10 changes against the top 4.
I think there's a clear, in my opinion, there's a clear divide between the two. If you're second in the league, you have the right to play, or you're first in the league, or whatever. You've got the right to play whatever team you want to play. We don't like it, but there's nothing you can do about that. You can play all youngsters if you want. That's absolutely fine. Leeds did it when after they'd won the title. They went to Derby and they changed all 11 players. After most of those players couldn't stand up. But that's probably one of the reasons. But there's nothing wrong with that because they've got to that point. They've deserved and they're able to make those changes because they've won the league. Manchester United second,
the fact
they can make as many changes.
They're laughing in the face of the Premier League for reorganising the games the way they have.
So what I'm saying is, Trev, the issue goes back to allegedly them allowing that game to be called off. That's the problem. They knew there was going to be protests. They knew there was going to be problems at that game, and they did not enough about it to stop it from happening. And now that has caused this knock-on effect. So that's what they need to be punished for, in my opinion.
And fair play to Leicester. You know, they put a team out there. They won the game. This is going to be the first year since they won the league that they're going to be in the Champions League. Credit to them. I'm actually delighted because it's a club that oozes class. So I'm delighted for Leicester City, but this is an absolute joke what Manchester United have done.
Listen, Trevor, it's been entertaining as always, and I'm going to let you go off and celebrate because I know you're gonna get some bubbly out for Manchester City's title win. But fantastic conversation.
Bubbly, it'll be Prosecco, don't worry.
Cheers, guys.
Once again, Trevor Sinclair, the former England and Manchester City winger there. Look, an entertaining conversation. Let us know what you think about the prospect that Trevor thinks Manchester United should be deducted points for the side they put out tonight. 08717 223344.